Hi, beauties. Welcome to Hormone Breakthrough Wednesday. It's so great to be here with you. I'm just going to arrive for a minute. Just going to arrive and listen to this beautiful song.
I am ready to receive all the love that's given me.
Life is busy.
Knowing I am worthy, yes, and more, please. I am ready to release all the fear, anxiety, trusting I am held in the light by divinity.
So pretty. So pretty. So we have a really special guest today. So excited to share her with you.
I am ready to receive all the love that's given me. 'Cause I know that I am worthy, yes, and more, please. I am ready to release all the fear, anxiety, and I trust that I am held in the light by divinity. So done with playing small, knowing I am made of stars, and that I am the love that I'm looking for, knowing that my heart is my home.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh, so beautiful.
I love this.
Isn't it so gorgeous?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
What a beautiful affirmation.
Oh, well, welcome, Tricia Nelson.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It is so great to be here with you. And Tricia was a guest on the 15-day Hormone Reset because her message is so powerful. It's so powerful. And we all need support around food, right?
Amen. I don't know anybody who doesn't.
We all need support around food. So I'm so glad that you're here today. And we have just a really special program today for Hormone Breakthrough Wednesday. It's great to be back. I've been MIA. We've been in the 15-day Hormone Reset program. It was just amazing. So many of you participated and so many of you totally rocked it. I'm just so impressed and so inspired. Just amazing. Just amazing. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this gorgeous woman, Tricia. She is a dear friend and colleague. I absolutely adore her. And she's just so knowledgeable around emotional eating. And many of us don't even know that we're emotional eaters. And so she's going to help us with that today, because if we're not aware that our emotions are driving our food choices, it's pretty hard to fix them. Right? And so Tricia lost 50 pounds by identifying and healing the underlying causes of her emotional eating. She spent nearly 30 years researching the hidden causes of the addictive personality. Tricia is an emotional eating expert and author of the #1 best-selling book, Heal Your Hunger: 7 Simple Steps to End Emotional Eating Now. She also offers a certification training for health coaches so they can get better results, referrals, and revenue by helping their clients overcome emotional eating. She is the host of the popular podcast, The Heal Your Hunger Show, and is a highly regarded speaker. She's been featured on NBC, CBS, KTLA, Fox, and Discovery Health. Welcome, Tricia.
Thank you. Great to be here. What a beautiful way to spend a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. And this group is absolutely incredible. It is just filled with amazing women who want to feel better.
Beautiful.
And so these, Hormone Breakthrough Wednesdays are a really great way that we can, get more information out to these beautiful ladies and really help each other to just show up better in our lives,
I love that. Yeah. And nobody can do it alone. Like our heads, those gremlins in our heads are too strong. So when we come together with the intention of improving our health and up-leveling our lives, it makes it so much easier to follow through with the good advice that, we get.
Yeah, because so many of us know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what I always say, I mean, the women who come to me for help are highly knowledgeable, very well read, very well studied, on what to eat and what nutrition is needed and what the best diets and all that kind of thing. But, if somebody has a tendency to emotionally eat, it doesn't really matter what they know. Like people who could write a book on nutrition, can't necessarily follow through on what they know. And then, of course, that really makes the shame even greater. It's like a woman will sit there after a binge and say, what's wrong with me? I used to say this, what's wrong with me? I know better. Like, I know better than to eat the whole tub of ice cream. Like, what am I thinking? And that's where the emotional part comes in. It's like, it doesn't matter what you know. It's the ability to follow through and to have new resources to draw on when we're stressed, when we're feeling pissed off, or when we're feeling like, life is hard. I mean, we can't have food be our go-to, during those times. We have to learn new tools and new skills and really go deeper, to dig out the stuff that just compels us to eat when we know better.
Yeah, so true, so true. Tricia, can you turn up your volume just a little bit? And is my
Absolutely.
volume okay?
Yours is, and I'm sorry if mine isn't. Let me see if I can do something about that. See
Just
mine.
a little bit higher would be great. You were saying
Okay.
some
Let me.
amazing things, and I'm straining to hear you just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so while Tricia is figuring out her sound, you know, um, you know, we've talked a little bit about emotional eating. We've mentioned that, but what the topic really about is about today is really better understanding our sugar cravings, what's driving them. It's really all about sugar cravings, and what's driving them, and what causes us to go off the rails periodically. How sometimes we can stay on and sometimes we can't, and just sort of figuring this out. So Tricia, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you, like, how did you even discover that you were an emotional eater? Because that's kind of a big concept. And you and I have talked many times about this. I never would have described myself that way. But of course, looking back, I'm like, yes. And even today, I'll be thinking about why am I thinking about making that choice? Like what's driving that choice? So share with us a little bit about your journey and then how you figured out that it was your emotions that were driving your food choices.
Yeah. Can you hear me any better now, Robin?
It's a little bit better.
Okay. So sorry. I don't know what that's about.
It's all
So,
right.
okay. So my experience is I was definitely an emotional eater and had no idea of it, no idea of it. And I grew up thinking I just like food. I was like, I just like food. I love food. I love to cook. I love to serve it to other people. I love to go out to dinner, all these things. I just absolutely love food. But there was more to it than that. I mean, that's the truth, is there was more to it. But, the obsession with food, the food thoughts, the planning of the eating, the planning of where we're going to go out to eat, all that stuff, that was pretty obsessive for me. Like, it took up a lot of time. A lot of time in my day was spent on this whole food topic, and other people didn't know that. I'd be having conversations with somebody and be thinking, what can I get to eat on my way home? And so it was that kind of, I didn't tell people I was thinking that way because I was sort of embarrassed about it. It definitely took up a lot of my thought life. And for me, I did gain weight very easily. And so by age 20, I was, as you said, 50 pounds overweight. And I was not okay with it. Like, I was very embarrassed. I hated not fitting into my clothes. I hated, I had this tummy that I would, this roll of fat I would scrunch up in my hands, and I would, squeeze it and think, how can I cut this off? It's only fat after all. You know how you cut fat off the side of a steak. I thought, well, this is fat. Thank God I didn't try it, or maybe maybe I'd end up with a disease that would automatically cause me to lose weight. I mean, really kind of crazy thoughts, because I wasn't in control of my body, and it made me feel very desperate. And I had tried so many things, Rob, and I tried diets and, I always say pills and potions and lotions and even 12-step programs and things like that. And so when I couldn't, like, I'd lose weight, but I always like gained it back, and I had like 5 different sizes of pants in my closet. So that frustration of going down and going up, I was really a yo-yoer. That got me to a place of just feeling like there's got to be a better way. There has to be a better way than the diets. And so that's what happened, is I did find another way. And I got a coach, a mentor, who showed me how to really dig deeper and deal with the underlying causes, the emotional causes. And, waking up to the fact that I am an emotional eater was interesting because, as I said, I thought I just liked food, but once it's sort of brought to your attention, so anybody watching that thinks, I'm not an emotional eater, this might help you kind of wake up a little bit. Like, you start noticing, the certain times that you're going to the refrigerator and opening the door and shutting it, and opening the door and shutting it, or the different times that you get a craving for something, like I have to have chocolate. There might be something going on in your life. There might be a phone call that's uncomfortable. There might be a relationship that brings up stuff for you where you just seem to want comfort from food. So that's really the first thing to start noticing. But I'll tell you, the weight loss, the weight came off and stayed off when I took this new approach, the non-diet approach, and really starting to address and heal what was driving that, what was, bugging me, and what my emotional life was about, and starting to tend to that like you would a garden, not letting all the weeds of negativity and self-hatred and criticism and all those things grow, but to start to prune those things and start to really get in tune with my emotions and cultivating more positive emotions. So I just felt better about myself and didn't want to hurt myself with food, because so much of the time when I was putting crappy foods in my body, I was abusing my body. I think, I want this, or I deserve this, but what did I deserve? Bloating, health issues, gut issues, migraines, the things that some of these crappy foods cause. Like, I was acting like I had a right to eat those foods, but truthfully, I had a right to abstain from those foods and start, a journey of health and wholeness.
Yeah, it's an abusive pattern that happens, and I love that
Yeah.
you're pointing it out because, when we talk about cravings, like sugar cravings, that seems somewhat lighter and more trivial, right? And then when we talk about emotional eating, that sounds very heavy and like maybe there's something wrong with me, but they're really like one and the same thing. And we treat those sugar cravings over and over and over as something, fairly trivial and benign when we're really abusing our bodies. And, how many of you can relate to some of the things that Tricia was saying, like constantly obsessing about food, opening and closing that refrigerator door, over and over again. I mean, for me, it was, I as a young person, I was a great baker. I could bake chocolate chip cookies. I had that recipe, the Toll House chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, I know all about it.
Recipe memorized, right? I couldn't cook dinner. I couldn't fix you dinner, but I could fix you some chocolate chip cookies in a heartbeat, right? And then I had 2 brothers, and I was worried that they would take too many of them, so I would hide them, Yeah, and so I clearly had some issues. So how many of you can relate to some of this weird behavior around food?
Absolutely.
We're laughing about it, but for some of us, it's a really big, serious struggle, right? And it keeps us constantly stuck.
Yeah, it really does. And even if it's not a big struggle, it still is, it's robbing your energy. If it's bugging you at all, like if you have a little bit of a conversation in the back of your mind, like the Norton antivirus, like, why'd you do that? And what, I wish I didn't have this extra 5 pounds on me. And why can't I lose the 5 pounds? And I don't want so-and-so to see me because I've gained weight. And I'm definitely not going to go to that party because I don't look as good as I want to look. If you have that kind of reel of negative self-talk going on around your weight or around your food choices and being disappointed in yourself, that is robbing your energy. Like, that is keeping you from being vibrant, from being whole, from feeling really good about yourself. The thing I hear more than anything from women is how their self-confidence is being, compromised on account of their food struggles, and that affects everything. That affects our relationship with our spouse, that affects our job performance, it affects sometimes your relationship with your kids, when you're not showing up with the strength that you want your kids to see in you, if you're kind of battered by all this negative self-talk, that has a ripple effect in every area of your life.
Yeah, the self-confidence piece and self-esteem piece, that's probably one of the biggest pieces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we feel out of control. And that was something I did, every January for sure. And then throughout the year, I'd go in and out of diets, and then it was always my fault. And I always felt so much guilt and so much shame and so much embarrassment. And of course, along with that, you have zero self-confidence.
Yeah. And I like that you talked about, I think it's important that we talk about the sugar aspect of this, because I think that's a great place to start. If somebody does struggle with food and weight, at all, sugar is a great place to start because it is the culprit of so many health issues. Sugar, and I always say sugar and carbs, unhealthy carbs, because carbs, like potato chips and bread and those things, they metabolize as sugar in our bodies. So it's essentially sugar. If you're hooked on bread, you're still getting the same effect as if you ate a bag of M&Ms, so.
Thank you for sharing that, Tricia. It's really important. And we don't think about it that way. And we ladies hold on to our bread.
Yeah, exactly. Don't take my bread away from me.
I know, don't take my bread.
but that's, that kind of mama bear tenacity around our bread, and being territorial about it is a sign that there's some emotional connection, obviously, to that bread. So if somebody's like, I'm not an emotional eater, if you have some serious stuff come up when we talk about not eating certain foods, those foods have no nutritional value whatsoever. They are not enhancing your life. So what is that knee-jerk reaction about? It's definitely an emotional one, because we depend on sugar, we depend on carbs, to comfort us, to treat us, to give us a sense that, that we've done good, it's sort of a reward. So we use it for these different emotional reasons in our life. That's emotional eating, friends. It's not some deep, dark thing that you need 20 years of therapy for. It's like noticing the emotional connection between our favorite foods, the foods they're like our go-to when times are tough. That's an emotional connection to food. That's all emotional eating is.
Yeah. So if you found yourself in the 15-day hormone reset, using my name as a cuss word, I can't believe that Robin is having me eliminate, one of my favorite foods, right? So dairy and bread and chocolate and anyway.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's, if you can say that you love a food, right? Love a food, then you know that you have an issue with it. So Tricia,
Yeah.
how do we know if we're an emotional eater? Like, what are some questions that you help people identify?
Yeah, well, I'd say if there's a food that you lose control with, so if there's some food that you're just like, I'm going to have one or I'm going to have a couple, but you go back for more, or you eat the whole bag or the whole carton, that's a problem. Okay. So if you frequently lose control and you eat more than you intend to, or if you eat until you're stuffed and feel gross, you start out just like, again, it's a treat, right? But then if you eat it to excess, it's not a treat, it's a punishment. You feel crappy. So that's a sign. The obsession with food, like you could be thin and not have a weight problem, and it doesn't mean you're not an emotional eater. If you are somebody who just obsesses all the time, the food thoughts, constantly thinking about food and when you're going to get to eat and when you're going to have your favorite food or when you're going to cook something, that serves an emotional function as well. Like all obsessions, whether it's food or something else, it trips us. It's a way of tripping out and not being present with ourselves. So when our heads are going and thinking about something, not what we're doing right here and now, it's kind of, well, I'll tell you 3 things that those obsessions serve us. So I'm going to just get off the topic. I'll go back to other telltale signs, but for anybody's benefit of kind of what are the emotions that drive emotional eaters, I'm going to talk about the PEP formula. And this is a way to understand how food serves us more than just our nutritional needs. And the PEP test PEP is an acronym. And these are the 3 driving emotions. And you can take notes on this because it's pretty fascinating. So food serves, if we tend to, get really crazy about certain snacks or certain desserts, the food, or we have a lot of food thoughts, busy thoughts about food. These are serving emotional purposes. The first one, first P stands for painkiller. So food obsession will kill pain. It'll take us out of a moment that may be uncomfortable. Okay, pain may not be as far as being painful, but uncomfortable. So food is a painkiller. That's how food serves us on an emotional level, because if we have pain, we might have a relationship that's run its course and we're trying to hang on. That creates emotional pain. We may have a job that doesn't fit us, but we're grinding it out because we're afraid about losing the income. That creates emotional pain. We might have a death, or we might have sickness, or a parent that's sick. That creates stress and pain. So these are ways that food is serving us on an emotional level. The E in PEP stands for escape. And I would say there's not any time more than in 2020 when you could walk out the door and literally get sick and die. There's no other time in history that, that we would want to escape more from. Okay. And it's, literally, it's just our whole reality changed to kind of a scary one. And so that's an escape. So we use food to escape pain, to also escape worry and fear. And it works, that's why we love carbs and sugar. I mean, we don't binge on broccoli, right? We don't like fantasize about how we're going to cook broccoli and eat it in front of the TV because it doesn't let us escape to the extent that we want to escape. Popcorn, Doritos, chocolate, Hershey's Kisses, these things take us out of our reality. That's why they're serving us on an emotional level. The third letter is P, and it stands for punishment in the PEP test. And why punishment? Like food is a treat. But like I said, when we go too far with it, or if we have autoimmune issues or hormone issues, and we know that eating that chocolate bar or that cereal is going to make us hurt, but we crave it and we want it, and then we suffer consequences, folks, that's not a reward, that's a punishment. And why would we do that? We have underlying guilt. Overeaters are overthinkers. Okay. We think everything to death. What does she mean by that? Why do I have to do that? Why are they getting together and they didn't invite me? We never stop thinking. And that creates, a lot of kind of stressful thoughts. And we're also overfeelers. Besides being overeaters, we're overfeelers. So we're very sensitive and we feel deeply. And so it's really easy for us to feel guilt. Guilt is something that it just attaches to us like Velcro. Okay. And sometimes when we're feeling crappy about ourselves, we act crappy too. And then because we think and feel so much, we hold on to that. We're not able to let it go, and we beat ourselves up with food. So these are, guilt is actually a very unconscious driver of our unhealthy eating, because we're not treating ourselves right, and so what we have to do is dig out those emotions that make us feel unworthy of good, positive treatment. It's vital, absolutely vital. I mean, people go on diets and they think, I'm going to go on diet. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to fit in my skinny clothes and everything's going to be fine. But 5 seconds at goal weight and we're back up the scale again, there's got to be a reason. And the truth is, this statistically speaking, 98% of all diets fail. 98%. That's such a crazy, abysmal, statistic. Why would anybody go on a diet? But it's because we're tricked into that quick fix mentality, thinking I'm just going to do this, it's going to take care of it, and I'll be fine. And unfortunately, it's not that easy. It is an inner journey, but like I said, it doesn't take 20 years of therapy. What I've done, Robin, is I've really created a system for addressing these things that's very simple, very practical. You know how practical my work is. It's like day to day, new things you can do instead of turning to food, and it just makes all the difference in the world. So that pep test, I like to offer that just to kind of help people see what emotions might be driving our eating, and how it's very simple that we could end up emotional eating or comfort eating. So if you relate to any of that, then those are telltale signs too of emotional eating.
And I think it's so important to recognize, what Tricia has shared here, because there's so much blame that we put on ourselves, right? That we don't have enough willpower, or we're not worthy, or like she says, guilt is a big driver, and we're very, we're big feelers, we're very sensitive people, and so when you look at it, from the perspective of pain or wanting to escape, I mean, how many times have we grabbed like some of our favorite foods and sat in front of a TV show, or like, a movie, and then it doesn't stop, you just keep eating, and then, for punishment, right? And we don't think about it that way, but that's what it ends up being. So how many diets have you been on? You can post it right here.
The time for truth.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many. I mean, mine would be like the infinity symbol, something like that. Never ending diet. So Tricia, you have an incredible program coming up that is going to be a much deeper dive into some of what we're talking about here. So if you are interested in really getting a handle on your sugar addiction, right? Your sugar habit, carb habit, carbs go right in there, like Tricia was talking about, bread and crackers and chips and things like that. Tell us a little bit about your Quit Sugar Challenge.
Yes, I'm so excited about it. It starts on Monday, so definitely don't delay in registering. It starts Monday, and it's such a wonderful journey. It's a 5-day journey plus a bonus day, and what we do together is we just dig in and we get sugar out of our diet. Okay, so the first day is sweet Sabbath. No, sweet. The first day is sweet sleuthing. Okay, so we're gonna start. There are all these different days of different things. So sweet sleuthing, sweet swaps, where we find out what swaps. I like sweet foods. Like I still have a sweet tooth. I've been in a thin body for over 30 years, but I'm a sugar addict and I like sweet. So I don't eat sugar by the grace of God, and I'm super healthy because of it. But it's really important that I enjoy my foods, because people think quitting sugar, how could I ever live without sugar? Trust me, Robin knows, and I know you can enjoy really yummy foods without having a touch of sugar. So I'm going to show you how and give you over 30 recipes for that. So, and we're going to sleuth out the things, in your cupboards that have sugar. You're going to learn about all kinds of hidden sugars. So this is a very comprehensive 5-day program where we're going to quit sugar together, give each other community support, in the group, and then dive into some of the deeper underlying causes so you can stay stopped. So you don't have that sweet sabotage where we quit and then you go back to it. So we're going to talk about self-sabotage as well. And so it's just a really wonderful program, and there's going to be prizes, and there's going to be, a workbook that you can follow along. And, but it's just, women, it gets them started on the path of really cleaning up their diet and really feeling better and getting rid of, some women have had their numbers go down dramatic, diabetics, their numbers go down dramatically just from the 5 days. It's crazy, so it's really fun. And Robin, you're going to post the link so they can register for that, right?
Yes, we're posting the link right now where you can register. I think it's like $7,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's $97 value, but I'm giving it away for $7 because I don't want anybody to hesitate. I don't want anybody to pass on this. You know, you can literally transform your health by cutting out the sugar and the really unhealthy carbs. So join us and get the support. My experience also is it's so difficult, if not impossible, to do this alone. You know, when food, you know, and sugar and carbs have been your main go-to for so long, you've got to have the community support. You know, on your own, those gremlins in your head are going to talk to you and convince you like, oh, just one, you know, whoever had just one of something yummy and sweet, really, you know? So, so
Yeah.
get the support, you know, and it's a lot of fun too.
You've got to have the support and you've got to figure it out, you know, because we keep you know, I know in working with my clients over the years and for myself, it's really easy to go back to what doesn't serve you. It's really easy. Like I mean, you know, if you've been on this journey for a while, like the rest of us, you know that it's really easy for us to rationalize our way into whatever sweet treat we want right now to feel better.
Amen.
I can give you so many examples. And when you do that, you just continually sabotage even the best laid plans over and over and over again for years and years and years. Like, let's stop this vicious cycle. Like, Tricia really knows her stuff. The program is amazing. This is like the third or fourth time you've done it. Like, it's really solid. It's very foundational work, and it will help you to I think at the very least, identify some of your triggers.
Absolutely. Yes. So important, you know, and start to understand why those are your triggers, and how to find new alternatives as well.
Because I'm curious, you know, for myself sometimes when I really, you know, find myself needing something like that, I'm so curious. It's like, what is going on for me? Like, what is driving this? And it's so
Yeah.
important to figure it out. And we are so sensitive. And, you know, Tricia was talking about, you know, the year 2020, and it's been way more stressful than we even realize. So much
No
more stressful.
kidding.
I was talking to a client just a little bit ago, and we have been completely isolated from our communities, completely isolated.
Yeah.
That alone will drive us to sugar. You
Yep.
know, and like Tricia said, we've got to have communities like this one, this beautiful sisterhood. We've got to have communities where we support each other. So I want every single one of you to join Tricia's Quit Sugar Challenge. It's for how many days? 5 days?
It's 5 days. Yep.
5 days. We can do anything for 5 days.
Amen. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's great. You'll feel great after just 5 days. You will feel fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we know after doing the 15-day hormone reset that we can do anything for 5 days.
Yeah, for real. 5 days, no problem.
5 days, piece of cake.
You got it.
Every single one of you in there. And if you are in my my Heal Your Hormones program, you actually get a VIP pass. So
Yes.
I'm sending out an email for that where you can just sign up.
Yep, absolutely. VIP pass and a special 1 hour Q&A session with me.
Oh, that's so special. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so anything else that that you want all of us to know around really like healing from, you know, sugar addiction?
Yes, I will say that, you know, remember we talked about the bread and not wanting anybody to take away our bread. What people often think is that you're going to have to quit sugar and miss it and crave it and somehow by hook or by crook not eat it. But that's not actually true, because in the work that I do, the Heal Your Hunger work that I do, I show people how to not crave it anymore. Okay. There's some part of craving that's physical. So we can get it out of our system and then we don't crave it on a physical level, but it's the emotional craving that can persist. But I show people how to lessen the, you know, the emotional craving for it, in which case not having it is not a big deal. So if you're like, I don't want to do quit sugar challenge because I can't quit sugar. I can't live without it. I'm going to show you new ways to live without it. So it's not a big deal to let it go, you know, and I think that's really important information. You're not going to crave it and just white knuckle not having it. You're not going to even want it anymore.
Yeah, that's so important because we're afraid, Tricia.
I
We are
know.
afraid to let go of our sugar because
I know.
that's been our snuggly blanket for a long
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah. And we need new snuggly blankets. And
We
I'm going
need
to
new
show you
snuggly
how.
blankets. Yeah,
Much better ones.
that's hard to say. We need new
New
snuggly
new
blankets.
snuggly blankets.
And that's why this group is so great. That's why Tricia's program is so great. We need to stay in those snuggly blankets so that
Amen.
we don't hurt ourselves, because
Amen.
we don't realize how much we're punishing ourselves when we do that.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. It starts out as a treat, turns into tragedy.
Yeah, sugar just is so harmful on a hormonal level. It's so harmful just in a gazillion ways. And it's
Absolutely.
and it's really the food. It's not really food. It's the food that we eat that causes us to age so fast.
No
So
kidding.
so when we think that, that we're aging fast and we see all those wrinkles, you got to think sugar because it creates something called ages, which is
Yes.
which is basically where, in fact, people die from this and it's not even known. It's these what are called, kind of glycosylated proteins where there's sugar attached to a protein molecule, and they're very sharp and they actually cut up like your blood vessels. They do so much
Mm,
damage in your body, and we don't even, nobody talks about this unless you're in the health world.
yeah.
You don't hear about it.
Yeah, and the elasticity, I mean, that was a big driver for me is the elasticity. If people eat sugar all the time, they lose the elasticity in their skin.
Yeah.
And that's how their face falls, and it's really funny because my boyfriend, Richard, he was a total sugar addict when I met him. And I mean, I'd be doing a quit sugar challenge and he'd be eating Ben and Jerry's, at the end of the night. And I'd be like, I can't believe this is my life. And so, but after hearing me do two, like kind of being in the room, because we're all working at home, being in the room while I'm doing the quit sugar challenge, he gave up sugar.
No way.
Yes, on his own. I left him. I mean, we used to have Snickers bars in the fridge, like a whole line of Ben and Jerry's in the freezer. Literally, he was like 1 and 8. The only reason he could do it is because he's a cyclist. So he would cycle like 50 miles a day and he's thin as a rail, but he ate tons of sugar, so unhealthy. But after hearing me, like, you can't be around this stuff and not start to think, I think I need to change my habits. So he quit sugar. He's been off of sugar for 2 months since my last quit sugar challenge.
Oh my gosh, I am so impressed.
I know, it's crazy. And in the first week he had some detoxing, he's like so tired, but then he just bounced right back and he still cycles 50 miles a day, like a champ, but he doesn't refuel the sugar anymore. It's beautiful.
That's so great.
Yes.
Oh, what a great story. I didn't know that.
I know, it's really funny.
I'm so proud of you.
But thanks. The reason I was going to say that, the reason I brought that up though, is because it was my talking about the elasticity and getting wrinkles that actually got, he's 63 years old. It actually got him to thinking, I don't think I want to eat sugar anymore. It's like, I don't want to look old. You look great. And I'm going to look, like 80.
That's right. That's what I always say. I always say, I'm going to be hot and you're going to be looking old and you're going to want what I have.
That's right.
Well, it's so great having you on today, Tricia.
Thank
oh
you.
My gosh. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Your wisdom, because this is hard for us girls.
I know. We got to stick together and we got to get healthy together.
We got to stick together. Yeah. So absolutely join her Quit Sugar Challenge. It's going to be a blast. Tricia, as you can see, is so much fun, and she keeps things really simple, which is really important. It has to be doable.
Amen.
And what's the start date?
Start date is Monday, the 12th of October. Yeah.
Okay. So
jump right in.
An email too about it over the next few days. And so make sure that you get in, because you've got to have this. Got to have what this sister has.
Yeah. Don't put it off. Do it. There's no better time than before Halloween. Get clean and stay clean through the holidays.
I like it. Get clean before Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
All right. Well, thanks
you so
Robin. Much. Please give Tricia hearts.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you so much for being here. And please definitely join her sugar challenge. It'll be life-changing. And next week, there is no Hormone Breakthrough Wednesday because I'm actually going to be on a trip. But I will pop into the group and just say hi. And in the meantime, you're going to be doing the Quit Sugar Challenge.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
So yeah, so then we'll check back the following Wednesday after that. All right. Big love to you all.
Bye.
Bye.